Hey, an exclusive today on Know the Cause. You guys know Joe Mercola, Dr. Joe Mercola. Well, he doesn't do television interviews very often. I sat down with him at the ACIM convention in Orlando, and he talked to us about supplements and more. You're going to love that. Then Dr. Greg Emerson, two doctors today, talks about fluorinated water. I'm going to teach on, is cancer on the rise or is it on the decline? Abby's going to be over in the kitchen telling you what your Kaufmann cupboard should look like. And then in the opening of today's show, what is asthma? What is chronic sinusitis? All that and more. Stay tuned. My name is Doug Kaufmann. For the past 40 years, I've dedicated my life and even my career to finding the root cause of disease. Join me in a team of physicians, pharmacists, and scientists, and soon you too will know the cause. I want to have a little fun right now. You guys have known me for many, many years. I want to back up. It was in 2011, 7, 8 years ago, that I wrote this PowerPoint presentation for you. And as I go back in the 2010, 2011, and I began to review, and before that, I guess I just held up cards. What did I do before PowerPoint? I did a segment on asthma, and I thought, wow, how far have we gone? Asthma is now, fungus is now implicated in the disease asthma, but it was peripheral back then. It was just close. There's a book I need to share with you. It's right here. This book is called, you've seen it, Principles and Practice of Clinical Nutrition. And in this book, they dedicate a whole chapter. This is a medical textbook, and they dedicated a whole chapter. I'll show it to you here. The chapter is, which chapter? Bone and joint, cardiovascular, meningitis, central nervous system, skin, ear, nose, throat, bloodstream, GI tract, genitourinary medicine. Here it is, Chapter 17, Fungal Infections of the Respiratory Tract. 1996, this book came out a long, long time ago. And they didn't, folks, back then we were just thinking, maybe, I don't know. Today, if you have asthma, you really need to get one of those home test Petri dishes. Put it in your house, or better yet, that's cheap. And very often you get what you pay for. Better yet, bring one of those testing guys with a he can collect the air in your bedroom, in your bathroom, and then in 2 weeks you get a report printout. Oh my gosh, you have aspergillus and penicillium in your bedroom. That's why you have asthma, okay? But here's where we were. Walk back with me through time, 7, 8 years ago. What is asthma? You see how I used to do this? I define it. Asthma is a chronic disease of the airwaves that makes breathing difficult. You guys know that. What causes asthma? And do you love this, folks? Do you love this? WebMD, no one knows the exact cause or causes of asthma. I mean, there it sits. We don't have any idea. Now, we do know that there's 35 medicines for it in the pharmacy. Do you see any disincentive for a physician to know the cause? He's got 55 patients that day. I want you to take this bronchial dilator. I want you to take this anti-inflammatory. I want you to take aspirin. And what about diet, doctor? No. You can have soda pop, eat anything you want. That's where we were in 2011. Unfortunately, it's where we are today, too. Let me progress. Asthma and fungus. Now remember this, in 1999, the Mayo Clinic study implicates fungus as a cause of sinusitis. Researchers said then, we can now begin to treat the cause of the problem instead of the symptom. Ooh, and I kind of remember doing this graphic. And I said, if sinusitis, isn't that part of the airway that goes down to the bronchial, into the lungs? So how can you have chronic sinusitis when you're inhaling all of this mold, purportedly, and not have asthma, or not have COPD, or not have a lung problem, right? And so I remember saying, well, if chronic sinusitis, and they're saying, whew, we now know the cause of chronic sinusitis. Oh, they do, but every patient still gets antibiotics, because if they don't, that doctor's in trouble. You better prescribe, okay? So, the fungus linked to asthma. Scientists, look at how I capitalize that, that's kind of neat. Scientists at Manchester University, that's in England, have discovered that severe asthma is triggered by an allergic reaction to fungus. They are so close. See the way it's allergic reaction? A little bit of sniffles. For years, the condition has been blamed on air pollutants like dust mites, smoke, animal hair, cat fumes, that's one, car fumes, or pollen. But in the largest study of its kind in the world, experts, I love that word, say that they have pinned down the main culprit for the first time. Yeah, allergic reaction to fungus. What they're implying here is that, well, if you're breathing, you've got a moldy home and you're breathing in, little cough, little, ow, mommy, my skin itches. Wow. 7, 8 years ago, that's where we are. There are people who are in the hospital now diagnosed with lung cancer because their home is extremely moldy. Okay, let's not stop there. Man, this is fun. A blast from my past. Asthma and diet. WebMD says there is no special asthma diet. And anaphylactic deaths in asthma patients, wow, 1989. As many as 1/3 of peanut-sensitive patients have severe reactions such as fatal and near-fatal anaphylaxis. As many as 1/3 of peanut-sensitive patients. Where was I going there? Peanut is often impregnated with mycotoxins. Our grain supply, corn, wheat, is often impregnated with these mycotoxins. For the WebMD, and folks, maybe they've changed their tune now. I don't know. I just want to have fun and go back in a time with you when I had dark hair and probably a mustache. I wanted to show you what I was doing. I want to do a few of these to let you see where I was even 7 or 8 years ago. Now, the medical community isn't even here yet. They know that the Mayo Clinic published that story, right? They published this story that said 96% of all chronic sinusitis is due to fungus. Shh. Everybody gets an antibiotic. But don't antibiotics fuel fungus? Yep. Do you see where I'm going here? The cycle is complete as long as our prescriptions continue to fuel the symptoms and diseases we have. I wish it wasn't that way, but today we are a big pharma world. Don't go away. I'll be right back with more of Know the Cause, and thank you for joining me today and letting me travel back with you a bit. It's 20 years ago now, I began the show Know the Cause, and it's gone on consecutively for 20 years, which is amazing. One of my first interviews was with a doctor named Joe Mercola, now a famous website, Mercola.com. He joins us now to talk about supplements he likes.
First of all, I don't want anyone to believe that supplements are magic bullets. They are in no way, shape, or form. They are just that. They're an addition to a healthy lifestyle and food choices. So, but having said that, it's really difficult, even living an optimal lifestyle, and most of us don't, to obtain all the nutrients you need. So clearly one of the most important mineral that almost everyone's deficient in is not calcium, it is magnesium by far. Nothing even comes close. So almost everyone needs to be in a magnesium supplement. Then almost everyone's deficient in omega-3s, and omega-3 is essential to brain health and detoxification. And you just need enough high-quality omega-3s, and those are special fats. They're called essential because your body can't make them. Omega-6 are also essential, but we get so much of them that most of us are overloaded, and we eat these processed omega-6 fats that are really dangerous. They're even more dangerous, and most people don't understand this. Eating processed oils and fats, pretty much an oil in a bottle you don't want unless it's a really high-quality olive oil. Just avoid them. And these oils are also embedded in almost every restaurant food, which is why I hardly ever eat out in a restaurant. So you need to have high-quality omega-3s ideally from fish. That would be your best. So low or very small, tiny fish like anchovies, herrings, sardines. Because they don't have the toxins that accumulate, specifically mercury and PBCs and other fat-soluble toxins. So that would be one. And if you can't get that, or you don't like fish, you have an allergy for some reason, then you're going to need to take a high-quality supplement. If you're vegan, then you would go something like an algae oil. I personally like krill oil and krill phospholipids. And then ideally you want to get a test called an omega-3 index, which measures the ratio of omega-3 to omega-6, just to confirm that if what you think you're doing is correct. So, and then along those lines, and I'll give you the third one I recommend, which is a new one and needs a little explanation, is another test that is vital for everyone, just as important as the omega-3 index, is the vitamin D test. It's the 25-hydroxy-D, massively important. So that would probably be another supplement you should take, but I'm reluctant to put that in the supplement category because I have not taken vitamin D for over 10 years, and yet your vitamin D level is typically between 60 and 70, which is exactly where it should be, ideally 60 to 80, and not taken by a supplement. Normally you want to get it from the sun. You think, okay, great, but because of the ultraviolet B radiation, which converts the vitamin D to the cholesterol to vitamin D in your skin, and then you absorb it. But it does more. There's UVA, which increases nitric oxide release from skin, and your body needs nitric oxide, an important free radical signaling molecule. And also, people don't understand 40% of the radiation coming from the sun hitting our atmosphere or hitting our ground is near infrared. And yes, you can get that in heat lamp stuff, but why not get it for free from the sun? So sun exposure, you get everything for free. If you're not, then the third supplement would be vitamin D. Fourth one I like to add on, it's a new kid on the block, but I think it is super critical. And we could talk about it for a half hour, an hour. One of my good friends is Tyler LeBaron, who's the founder of the Molecular Hydrogen Institute. And you can type that up there's videos on it, but molecular hydrogen is a gas. And it be taken as a supplement, and it causes massive increase in your body's defense mechanisms to fight oxidative stress, so that it makes your own antioxidants through these biological pathways that you have, so that you don't have to swallow vitamin C or superoxide dismutase or vitamin E. Yes, those supplements can be useful, and I do take some of them occasionally, but it's so much better to have your body make them and eat the natural food. So I think that covers the really important ones that I value and concentrate on.
I was standing over the side of that camera asking him these questions. What a great guy. Thank you, Dr. Mercola, for joining us. Really an exclusive to have him do a television interview. He and the other attendees, all these doctors, hundreds of them, all believe what Dr. Mercola said, and that is get your vitamins, minerals, etc. from sunlight, from good foods like these, etc. And then supplement as a backup. Okay, I'll be right back. So first, we're going to go all the way to Brisbane, Australia, and talk with Dr. Greg Emerson. The show now airs in Brisbane, Australia, so he can watch us. Afterwards, I'm so confused. Is cancer on the rise? Is it going bye-bye? Depends on who you talk to. I do a segment on that right after Dr. Emerson.
This is why I don't drink fluoridated tap water. 1, it tastes like water from a swimming pool. 2, fluoride is a known thyroid toxin. And 3, it interferes with electron transport in our mitochondria. It's this movement of electrons which stimulates the production of ATP in the mitochondria. Low ATP means low energy. Remember, the only reason that fluoride is added to our water is because the system does not trust us to eat the right food and have a good oral health program. So prove them wrong. Take responsibility. This is Dr. Greg Emerson with Doug Kaufmann at Know the Cause Studios in the great state of Texas.
You know, I've read a few articles recently. I'm lecturing on cancer a lot, and cancer caused by mycotoxins. So you're raising your right hand, you're saying, Doug, what's a mycotoxin? What does that word mean? I'll explain it to you here in the next 4.5 minutes. The consensus is cancer rates are still continuing to rise when you factor in many things. And statisticians, boy, they can say anything they want. You know, it's amazing the way statisticians get involved in drug companies to me. But let's just face this. Cancer is on the rise? Question mark. We're getting older. Older people get more cancer. We're living too long. That's a problem, folks. We're becoming obese. Obese people get more cancer. We're gaining too much weight. New types of cancer are being discovered. That's why cancer is on the rise. But is it really this simple? Is it really just 1, 2, 3? Look, we're becoming overweight, so overweight people get more cancer. We're getting older. Shame on you, Americans, for getting older. Or new types of cancer are being discovered. Let's just take breast cancer. Let's take this one cancer. Look at what was discovered, and I want you to see the dates here. Look at the bottom one, antibiotics, 2004 in the Journal of the American Medical Association. Look at the one above, the reference, Journal of Clinical Oncology, published in 2010. And the one above that, a high carbohydrate diet, International Journal of Cancer, 2009. All of these are 7, 8, 9, 10 years old. We knew 7 years ago, that what contributed to breast cancer was a high carbohydrate diet, alcohol of any kind, didn't make a difference, including wine, and 3, antibiotics. Yet you have your doctors out there saying, drink wine, wine's good for you, you'll have a healthy heart. Yeah, but I'll have cancer, but your heart will be totally healthy. Amazing. We know that excessive antibiotics, plenty of alcohol, and a high carbohydrate diet exposes us to fungal mycotoxins, okay? Let's go to the next one. What do all 3 of those have in common? High carbohydrate diet exposes us to grains, and grains are contaminated sometimes with these fungal mycotoxins. That's why the Kaufmann diet says, stay away from grains, one of many reasons. But number 2, alcohol. Folks, I gotta tell you, alcohol is the fungal mycotoxin of brewer's yeast. It's just like penicillium is the mold that was discovered, right, by Dr. Fleming in 1928, and the poison it makes, its mycotoxin, is called penicillin. Ever been on that or a derivative thereof? Then you'll understand the third one. Antibiotics are fungal mycotoxins. Now we're talking about cancer in general, and what we're talking about is why in the world is the rate of cancer going up, up, up? Doug's hypotheses. I don't think the damage done by alcohol or antibiotics happens when you're 17 years old and taking antibiotics for acne, or you're 21 years old and you discover alcohol and you get a high from it and so you use it excessively. I don't think there's a cause and effect relationship with fungal poisons. I think they take decades to colonize in the body and culminate in ill health, in feeling bad. And I think cancer is just one of the diseases that is caused by fungal mycotoxins, well proven. I mean, this is well proven. Liver cancer, we absolutely know, and there's several other of these mycotoxins. And you see that word, look at the third one here. Antibiotics are fungal mycotoxins. What in the world is a fungal mycotoxin, Doug? Because I'm going to try and stay away from it. Again, the damage done by alcohol may take 3 decades. The damage done by all the antibiotics you took when you were a sick little child may take 6 decades. You now find yourself with tummy problems, skin eruptions, depression, dementia. Could it be traced back to those? I think science is going to find that. But let's define what those are, mycotoxins. They're poisons produced by fungus. Many have been identified. These are capable of causing illness and death in humans. This is a slide I give to doctors, and I put the scientific references on it. I didn't think you cared about those. They are capable of causing illness and death in humans. Most impede our immune system, and then finally, they're heat stable. Oh no, you can take the rice or take the pasta, break it, put it in a boiling pan, and you can burn off the fungus. It goes away. But if the fungus has already deposited these poisonous mycotoxins onto or into the rice or onto or into the pasta, you're eating it. You're going to end up at some time with perhaps an illness that has to do with these fungal mycotoxins. A super immune system should have a lot of white blood cells that gobble up this debris. But the mycotoxins themselves impede your immune system. Wow, just something to think about. Why is cancer on the rise? Folks, cancer is on the rise because mycotoxin intake is on the rise also, I believe. When you follow the Kaufmann 1 or 2 program, what should your pantry look like? Abby knows, she's been doing this for years, so we go into the kitchen and let her teach you what your pantry should look like on this diet. Here we go.
Hi, I'm Abby, and today in the kitchen, I'm going to show you the very basics of what it looks like to have a Kaufmann-style pantry. If you're just starting the diet, this is a great basic setup that you can have to make sure things you can have in your pantry that are just ready to go. As you're cooking, you just pull things out and you don't have to worry about it. First, we're going to start off with the dry ingredients pretty much. I've got some xylitol and liquid stevia for my favorite sweeteners. I really like the liquid stevia in my coffee in the morning. Xylitol is really good for baking. It's just nice to have just a little bit extra when if you want to make a treat for yourself, you can just have some already ready to go. You don't have to worry about going to the store and trying to find it. For the flours, we've got coconut flour and almond flour. Those are two very easy ratio to ratio kind of things to mix in if you're doing anything like baking, or if you need to thicken up some soup or anything like that, you just add a little bit in there. I've also got quinoa. Quinoa is a great substitute for rice or mashed potatoes on the side dish of any of your dinners or anything like that. It's really good. You can put some cheese in it and make it taste kind of like a macaroni and cheese kind of substitute, but it's really good to have. You can buy these in bulk from a lot of like the big box stores. You can buy a lot of quinoa in bulk nowadays, and you can just keep them in your pantry and ready to go. Now over to the liquid section. First things first, I love apple cider vinegar. It's great. It's great to bake with. It's great if you have problems with indigestion or heartburn. You can mix a little bit of water in it and that'll help it a lot. I also use this on my hair. If I've got a lot of product buildup, I'll put a little bit of that in some water in a spray bottle and spray it on my hair. It gets all the extra product out and makes it really shiny. Another liquid that I like to have is coconut milk. Again, it's great to mix in with things if you're making sauces or anything like that, or again, desserts. If you're making some chia pudding, it's great to have coconut milk on hand. It's in a can, so it's gonna last you for a long time, so even if you don't use it right away, you don't have to worry about it spoiling immediately. Another thing that's a staple in pretty much every kitchen is good old-fashioned chicken stock or chicken broth. I like chicken. If you like beef or you prefer vegetable, again, that's fine. It's whatever you like to use. Again, it's just an extra thing to have on hand. Cooking quinoa in broth makes it really, really tasty. It tastes significantly better than just using water, and you don't have to worry about putting too many spices in it or anything like that. Speaking of spices, we're on to the spice section. Very basics. I've got a salt grinder and a pepper grinder. The salt grinder, I've got pink Himalayan sea salt in here. It's got big chunks, and these are actually electric ones, so it just grinds it out for me. Put that there. And then I've got black peppercorns in here. And I like using black peppercorns as opposed to the already ground up pepper, because a lot of times in the ground up pepper, you'll get a lot of fillers in it and stuff like that, especially at restaurants. So anytime you go out to a restaurant and they offer pepper, just get them to come over and crack some black pepper on your plate instead of using the pepper shaker that's already there. Again, with the spices, the more spices you have, the better, because that will really amp up your food no matter what you're cooking. If you're cooking basic chicken, if you're cooking hamburgers, if you're cooking veggies, throw some spices on it. Make it taste good, make it taste better, and you'll want to eat it more. I love cumin. I love Mexican food. Cumin, paprika, chili powder, throw all that in there. I will eat it for days. Garlic powder goes great in, I have yet to find something that garlic powder doesn't go good in, so I put that in a lot of stuff. For the sweeter things like cloves, ginger, cinnamon. Cinnamon is really good in a lot of things. Again, you can put these in drinks. If you like tea or if you like coffee, you can mix some of these spices in and make yourself your own little latte. So you don't have to feel like you're deprived yourself of your favorite Starbucks drink. Just make it for yourself at home. These are the basics of what a Kaufmann pantry looks like. These are all the things that I like to have on hand all the time. So this is what my house looks like. If you want to add your own personal touch, by all means, go ahead. Go to the Kaufmann website at knowthecause.com to see a list of all the approved ingredients that you should have on hand. And you can take it from there. Have a great day.
You know, in watching today's show with you as we put it together, I think of Joe Mercola. I started my television show over in Fort Worth, Texas 20 years ago. It went national pretty quickly. But there was Joe. He was one of my early guests. And he probably looks at me today with white hair, and I look at him and we go, wow, what happened to us? Great guy, great brain. Thank you, Dr. Mercola, for being here. Thank you also, Brisbane, Australia, Dr. Greg Emerson, for being here. Hey, thank you, Abby. Isn't that fascinating how, you know, our pantries look different from normal pantries? Sometimes you just got to clean it out. Isn't that interesting about cancer? What causes cancer? What causes asthma? What is chronic sinusitis? Think your way through that. God bless you, folks. Good to be with you today. I'll see you next time.